Georgie here. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel with another video. We got a mic. We're gonna test it out for the first time in this video, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the trucking industry, something I've been doing for 7 years. A little bit about the pros and cons, and maybe if you're looking into getting into this industry, it could probably help you if you have some questions on any way, maybe figure out if you still want to get into it or not, or things that you don't understand. It's just a little bit of tips that I'm going to give out as well, and maybe it could, provide some type of information for anybody who's looking into going to school or getting into this. So without further ado, let's get into this video. I'm going to start with some pros. Let's start with the traveling. If you're looking into getting into trucking, traveling is a good way to be able to expand and be able to get out there while getting paid. I started in this industry my first 2 years. I was on the road and I was traveling the states, got to go to many beautiful states, and I got paid for it. My partner and I, we got to really enjoy these 2 years riding together. She was just with me the whole time, and I was driving and getting paid for it. It was a good way for us to get to even know some national parks or even some states that you would have to spend money out of your own pocket to be able to even travel. And I got to go and get paid while doing trucking, which is a good way for you to be able to enjoy some traveling if you're into that kind of niche. Another thing is the pay. The pay for trucking might start off a little bit low when you're first starting, but it does pick up once you gain some experience and you're able to get more money the more you get to develop your skills as a truck driver. It's not just driving a 53-footer. There's a flatbed, there are reefers, the ones with the little fridge, and there's also tanks, there's doubles. There's so many different things that you could expand your experience with and then be able to make some more money once you learn those skills. Another pro is there's lots of work out there in this industry. There's so much freight to be moved in this industry. If you're looking to get work, you're always gonna find a trucking job out there in need of a driver. So the possibilities are endless if you're looking to get into this industry, and you can learn so much more than just driving a basic 53-footer and be able to apply for even better jobs with more work and better pay once you develop those skills, like I said. Another thing I want to talk about is your growth. You could become, besides being a driver, once you learn your skills, you could actually get your own truck, get your own LLC, and start your own company as an owner-operator and make much more money than you would make as a truck driver, as driving for a company or another owner-operator. So once you get your own truck, all the money will be to your pocket, besides the pay and percentage that you share with either a broker, a dispatch or so, but the money still goes to your pocket, which it's endless. You can make thousands of dollars within a week. There's so much freight to be moved, so that's why I said learn how to drive everything, besides a 53-footer dry van. Learn how to drive a flatbed, learn how to drive and operate, how to put on tarps, learn how to drive the doubles, learn how to use a reefer, a fridge. All that stuff is going to benefit you in the long run. Let's talk a little bit about the cons before I keep going with the pros. One thing about the cons is that when you start, most of the time you will be traveling to get the experience that you need. You will be going on the road. It's called OTR, which means on the road, which means you're going to be traveling the states, which means if you have a family that you are providing for, whether it's kids or even a partner, like I mentioned, you could bring your partner along depending on the company you are going to start with. If you do have kids, you will be away. If you do get in with the company that's starting you off as an on-the-road driver, you will be away a little bit more than you'll be at home. Most of the drivers start off traveling during the week and they're home for the weekend. Some are even gone for 2 to 3 weeks and they're home for a week. They do make more money the more you travel, but you are away, like I said, from your family, which is the sucky part. But you gain so much experience in the 2 years that I was traveling and being on the road. I got to learn so much, from putting on chains in the snow to driving in the rainy weather. It was a lot of experience that I gained quickly, and it developed me as a driver really fast. Another con is there's lots of driving. So if you are not into driving, maybe this might not be the industry for you. But if you are and you enjoy getting behind the wheel, this is a good job for you. When you're driving, you're gonna do a lot of driving. That's what I'm trying to say. For the con is you're gonna do a lot of driving. It could get fatigued, it could get tiring, it could get boring. There's lots of things that you can do as you're driving, whether it's listen to a podcast, you could be on the phone with your loved one, whatever you're into, or even expand your growth as like learning, or if you want to grow in your other career that you're doing. Me right now, I am a current truck driver, local, but I'm also starting a second career, which I was able to do while I'm a truck driver, because I was able to study, listening to study guides while I'm driving around and getting paid. So that's what I mean. If you are driving, it's not just sitting there bored in the quiet, you're bumping some music, whatever you're into, but there is a lot of driving involved. It's called truck driving, right? Now, low wages. When you're starting off after school, after you finish school, you will not be making the top dollar, like they said. You will probably be getting low wages, you know, because they either pay for your school, or even if you pay out of pocket, you're inexperienced, so you won't be making as much money. Now, some people do graduate and they already either have somebody that could get into the job line right away and they're making good money, depending, or it just depends on your connections and relationships you have in the industry before you get in as a truck driver. But most of the time when people graduate from trucking, they get in with a company that's gonna pay you as an inexperienced or unexperienced truck driver, and you won't be making the dollar you're supposed to be making until you get the experience, and then you can either go with another company, or that same company will provide you with more money at the time. Another thing that I really don't like, and I didn't do this when I graduated school, personally, it was preference, was team driving. A lot of people graduate and they get into team driving, that is either with an instructor or another driver that's going to provide you the experience and knowledge that you need to start off. It could be a good and bad thing. It just depends. It could be a hit and miss, because sometimes when you team drive, the truck is constantly moving. When you are resting, the other driver is driving, and when you're driving, he is resting, and you guys switch back and forth, and it just doesn't stop. You know, these companies make a lot of money off of you. You gain experience very quick. Again, you're not alone. But if you have a person who's stinky, smelly, not the best hygiene, or even doesn't clean up after themselves, or it just depends the attitude that they have, you're not gonna have a good time. But if you get a person who's very chill, very cool, who's actually easy to talk to, and you can connect right away, and you guys can learn off each other, or even if it's an instructor that's showing you the ropes the correct way, it could be a lot of fun, and it could be a great thing. It's just, like I said, it's a hit and miss, but that is a thing that comes with the learning in the beginning of being a truck driver. Now, finding loads is a huge issue, because when you're starting off, if you're not in with a company that already provides those loads, that already has a dedicated route for you, you are gonna struggle, especially when you go into a company that's just an owner-operator with 1 or 2 trucks. You will possibly not have consistent work, and that means you're not going to be making the money that you were supposed to be making, or you're expecting. It could be discouraging, and it could really throw you off if you're starting, and it might not really, you know, make you want to stay in the industry. So just my advice to that is, if you're going to get into trucking, graduate and get in with a legit company that's huge, big, it has a huge fleet, and they can provide you lots of work, so you get the experience, consistent, and they can give you dedicated routes where you can really learn from. That's my advice to that. But if you're starting with someone, just be aware that you might not get the work that you're looking for, you know. A pro, if you are on the road, pro is the showers, hotel, depending on the company that you're in. A lot of companies will pay for your hotels. You get a room every night. Some trucks come with beds, which are the semi trucks come with beds, which you're able to stay in either on rest areas, or you're able to stay in a provided area where it's nice and open, and you can sleep at night. You have your own bed, you have your own TV, you have a little fridge, you have a little microwave. It just depends how the setup is, but it could be really fun, you know. If you're a person who enjoys being alone, this could be a good job for you. And it just depends who you are as a person and how you're going to take the experience in as a person. because if you like being surrounded by people, if you don't enjoy being alone, this might not really be the job for you, but give it a shot still. You never know what you can get out of it. The comfortability is really there. I see a lot of truckers rocking the sandals. A lot of truckers are just wearing their flip-flops. It's just how you choose to dress and how you choose to drive. It's up to you. I'm not really gonna advise you to wear sandals when you're driving. You do whatever you want. Some people are even driving barefooted. You know, it's just the comfortability is what I'm getting at, that you're comfortable, you're on your own. There's no micromanaging, there's no job manager on you, there's no person on your neck breathing all the time telling you, what are you doing? How are you supposed to dress? How you do this and that? You're on your own truck. It's the comfortability is there, which is kind of cool. If you're looking to get into the industry, it's a little bit, you know, different than working in a warehouse where a bunch of people are around you, even managers. So just comfortability is a good pro to start off. I wanted to talk a little bit about local, on the road, and regional. These are options that are going to be given to you when you're applying for a job. On the road, like I mentioned already, you will be traveling the states, and you will be introduced to different environments, different areas, different weather, and it's really good learning experience. Soak it up. Go in there with a positive attitude and get the best experience that you can out of it. Don't see it as you're just collecting a check. See it as an experience. See it as something that you're really gonna enjoy, and be positive. You know, don't be negative about it, and just do the best you can at the end of the day, and take your time. You know, another thing is local driving. I'm a local driver. I started on the road for 2 years. I've been a local driver for 4 years now, about to be 4 years, 3 years. And I became local because my own personal reasons. Now I do make okay money, but I came in with the experience once I applied for these local jobs, so I was able to get a little bit more pay than a person who's just starting off as a local driver with no experience. Local jobs, you're able to come home to your family every single day, which is a great thing. If you have kids and you have family, you're able to provide and you're able to be present every single night, every single day, if that's the case. So that's local. Regional is when you are traveling tri-state, which means you're either gone for a day and you're back home the next. You're gone. You're just traveling to the states around you. That's what regional is. A couple tips that I want to give out will be learning everything that you could possibly can. Don't be lazy about it. Let me move out the way. I'm in my truck right now. I'm gonna move out the way real quick for a truck driver that needs to pass me. Channel 5. Learning everything that you can is my tip for those who are learning and who those are just beginning. Like I said, when you learn more, you will make more money. You will make so much more money when you learn more. When I was first starting, I started as a dry van driver, and I was making basic money, but then I learned how to do flatbed. Then I learned how to do other stuff. I learned how to do, I learned how to tarp. I learned how to strap. I learned how to drive doubles. I learned how to drive a tank. I learned how to use the hose, and all that created my resume so much, expanded my resume to the point where I'm able to apply for jobs. And when you get that interview, you come with that bam resume, and you're able to request or even ask for more money than another person who's coming in with no experience. So learn everything you possibly can. It's going to really benefit you in the long run if you are looking to, you know, continue and expand yourself in this career in the long run. Another tip I want to give is do the hard work. Don't be lazy about it. Go in there with a positive attitude and do the hard work. Like, don't just go collect a check. You know, do the hard work, because it's going to pay off in the long run, which, you know, pretty much aligns with learning everything else. Don't be afraid to fail. A lot of drivers, when they first start, they get nervous when they're backing up, you know, and then boom, they hit another truck. You know, when you get to a rest stop and these trucks are aligned next to each other, you take your time, man. Don't go in there. Nobody is really watching you. It's just you, your mind, and it's just you and that practice that you're doing in the moment. Don't stress it. Take your time. Get off the truck. Go back there. Scope out. Check your distance. Make sure that you're not about to hit. Go back in, even if it takes 3 or 4 times. But with time and practice, you will develop the skill to be much better, and you'll do it in one reverse. Take your time. Do not be afraid to fail. You're gonna make mistakes in this industry, and it happens to all truck drivers. I had my share of mistakes, and it's gonna happen, but you will learn from it. You can only learn from your mistakes, and if you're not learning from your mistakes, then something's going on, and you should really work with yourself in that area. But don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. It's okay to fail. Sometimes it's okay to make mistakes, but learn from them. And that's what I mean by taking your time as well. When you're driving on the road, take your time, bro. Give up. My first job, my instructor told me, when you're armed behind the wheel, by all means, just give up. Don't try to pass no cars. Don't try to race. Don't try to do no crazy driving. You're not driving a car. You're driving a semi truck. You're driving a big old truck that could take somebody's life. And by all means, please take your time when you're driving. I can't, I can't imagine how many people have died due to the fact that these drivers are hauling ass. They're going so fast, trying to get from point A to point B because they failed to leave with time or whatever reason is, and they end up taking people's lives. It is crazy. It's uncalled for. If you're gonna be late, dude. Just be late. Take your time. That's why a lot of these trucks are programmed, government program, which means they can't go faster than 60 miles per hour because of these reasons. But even 60, 40, or even 30 miles an hour could kill and take somebody's life. So take your time when you're driving. Put your blinkers ahead of time, and then just pass them up when you see the opening. Don't try to go in there by force because they're not letting you, and then forcing the driver to get out to the next lane, and then they crash and after this happens. Take your freaking time, man. Another thing I want to talk about is working for a company versus working for someone. When you're working for a company, you're going to gain a lot of experience, but you're going to go ahead and have dedicated routes, and you're going to have a consistent check coming in. You will probably have a manager. Who knows? You will have a dispatch that's constantly maybe on your butt, but who cares? You will have consistent check, and you will have an experience. So when you work for a company, just know that the check is always there, and then it comes with benefits, 401k and stuff like that. So it's things that that come with working for a company. But as opposed to working for someone, when you work for someone, you have to, be aware that you might not have the consistent loads there. You might not have the same work constantly coming in every week. One day you might collect a smaller check. Another week you might collect a bigger check. It's just a hit and miss. When I started my first 2 years, my first year I worked for somebody, and my second year I worked for somebody else. And the checks were on and off. One check I was big, one check was sometimes small because I didn't have consistent loads. So it just depends. It just depends, okay? So just know what you're getting into when you're first starting, because it could really, throw you off as a starting truck driver, and you might not want to be in the industry due to the fact that you're not going to receive the experience that you are thinking you are when you're first starting. When you're signing up for school, be aware that there's going to be two options for you. When you sign up for school, you're either going to pay out of your pocket, and you're going to have control of your license once you graduate. You're able to get into a company, whatever company you want to get into, and you won't have a contract. The second option is the contract. A lot of these schools offer contracts, which means they will pay for your school, but a lot of these companies offer contracts, which means they will pay for your school, but you are signing a contract of a year, maybe 2 with them, and you're stuck with that company, making that pay for a year or 2. And even though it sounds good, at the same time, once you realize the wages and the pays, which you will eventually once you get into the industry, you're stuck with that year contract. And if you leave, you get a fine, or you have to pay them back for the money that they invested into school for you. So be aware when you sign that contract, make sure that you go through different companies and different schools and be comfortable with what decision you're gonna make. So when you get stuck with that contract of 1 year, make sure, because even if you go through shit in life, even if you go through situations in life where family things happen, who knows what happens, and you are close to ending that 1 year or 2 year contracts, a lot of these companies just don't care, and they will milk you and take advantage of you, team driving, all this stuff, and it gets exhausting. But if you have the money to pay out of pocket, pay it out of pocket, man. You're gonna make it back within a check or 2. You're gonna make that money back. I promise you that. So just pay it out of pocket, but be consistent and stick through it all the way to the end. Graduate, and if you fail on a test, take it again. If you're stuck doing maneuvering at school and you can't get it right, keep going until you pass it. You will eventually get it, but be consistent and dedicate yourself to finishing all the way through. Don't throw your money away for no reason. And if you're gonna go on a contract, just be ready to be stuck for a year, which with every company you're gonna go with probably low pay because you are in a contract. But once you get over that contract, you are in control of your license and you're able to go wherever you want. Okay, I didn't want to make this too long. We just hit 20 minutes. It's just a couple pros and cons and some tips about being a truck driver from someone who's been in the industry for 7 years. I hope this video helps somebody that's getting into the industry or is looking into getting into the industry, and you're able to maybe get some information out of this video. I do have more videos coming up from my channel, but I did want to touch subject on the trucking industry for something that I've been doing full time for the past 7 years. A little piece of me for you guys. Much love to everybody who tuned in, and appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.